Hey friends! It's been a while since I've done anything on this channel that wasn't just a VOD, but as you can probably tell, I've been super involved with the Altered tournaments and qualifiers lately. I'll even be on site in Essen soon, which I'm really hyped about. I'm still figuring out how to make a proper vlog, but hey, at least now here I am. Between all the streaming and events, I realized I've been wanting to talk about something that's been on my mind for a long time. Last Friday I walked into my local store, fresh deck in hand, ready to play some Altered, but the moment I stepped in, someone said, "Hey, you heard Gundam TCG just dropped? We're all playing that today." Now, I love collecting and playing different card games, and of course I gave Gundam a try. I mean, just like all the products that are also bought too needs to be getting a try. It's flashy, it's fun, and actually also really well designed for the game it wants to be. But as I was playing, something hit me. New card games often try to fix or improve what came before, and while they are usually great, I can't help but ask, why should I switch to something just because it's slightly better, when the core issues could have been fixed in the original game too? That's what makes Altered so special to me. It's not just another TCG, it feels fundamentally different. The gameplay is incredibly unique, and while other games might polish the experience, Altered redefines it entirely. But here's the twist, even though the gameplay is amazing, Altered struggles in almost every other area a TCG usually shines. So today's video, it's all about the strange contradiction why Altered is the best non-TCG that I've ever played. Let's go into it. So let's talk about the core reason I love Altered so much. The gameplay. Sure, if you look closely, some individual card effects might be familiar from other TCGs, but as a whole, Altered plays unlike anything else out here. The closest comparison I can make is maybe Gwent. Yes, the card game from The Witcher. Not because they share mechanics, but because both games ultimately come down to comparing points after rounds. But even that's a stretch. What makes Altered really stand out is how the entire game feels. The board setup alone makes it look and play more like a tactical board game than a traditional card game. That's where its uniqueness shines. It's not about dropping overpowered creatures and watching them snowball. Thanks to the regular board reset, multiplayer win conditions and tight balancing, even the strong characters can be countered easily if not used wisely. You always have to think several moves ahead. You're not just playing your hand, you're navigating a whole battlefield. And the best part, most factions have a real chance to win. It's not about finding the meta deck, even if some people say they are like only those 3 decks completely destroying and the rest is useless. It's about understanding how to pilot your strategy well. You could probably name a couple of board games that comes close to how Altered plays, but in the TCG world, Altered stands alone. It doesn't try to be the better or the next more increased gameplay experience of another card game. It simply dares to be different, and that's what it makes so refreshing. But here's the thing, as cool and refreshing as Altered gameplay is, it also brings a bit of a, let's say, identity crisis. See, when most people get into card games, it's not just about playing. For a lot of players, collecting is half the fun, maybe even more than that, and collecting only becomes exciting when there's rarity, scarcity, and that feeling of owning something that others basically don't. And let's be honest, even if you're not some greedy scalper flipping cards for profit, most people still want their investment to feel worth. And that's where Altered can struggle compared to other TCGs. Yes, the game has this awesome unique system, and some of those cards are genuinely stunning with full stories and an amazing art, but they're only truly exciting to collect if they also bring a unique and playable experience. And here's the problem, there are tons of uniques on the marketplace that are cheaper than basically rares, just because they're straight up unplayable. So from a gameplay perspective, Altered is incredibly rewarding, but from a collector's point of view, it's a bit underwhelming. Sure, you can foil your cards, order exactly what you want and even build your perfect deck without opening a single booster, but that also takes away the thrill of the hunt. And that's probably one of the main reasons why Altered doesn't feel like a TCG in traditional sense for most of the people, including me. When I introduce people to the game, I don't even call it a trading card game anymore. I call it a board card game. And I explain exactly why in the next part. So why I keep saying Altered isn't really a classic TCG but more of a board card game? Well, let me tell you a story about my private life. If you would meet me and ask me my all-time favorite card board game, I give you titles like Wizard, Bonanza, Sex Nymph, The Game, maybe even Skull King or Love Letter. And what do all these have in common with Altered? They're card games, but not trading card games. The difference? Those games that I pointed rarely change, maybe a tiny rules update here and there, but the cards, the decks, they have been the same for years. Take Wizard for example, one of my absolute favorites. It's always been the same core deck, and honestly, Altered gives me the exact same feeling. Sure, there's a new set every 4 months, and yes, those sets brings new mechanics and fresh strategies, but if you look at the actual competitive meta, set 1 hasn't been invalidated completely or erased out of it. Set 2 didn't try to replace set 1. Set 3 didn't power creep over everything that came before. Instead, each expansion just added a little bit more. It refined things, it made certain decks smoother, introduced new archetypes, but it never made older decks just completely obsolete. Just like a normal expansion that you would see on any board games. I would take for example the Settlers. So you have the base game and you have like a tons of additional expansions that you can play, but the base game always is sticking to the same, and those expansions makes the experience new or just like increasing them to be smoother. And that's not how TCG usually work. Most games push out flashy new cards, shift the meta completely and force players to spend hundreds just to stay relevant. Altered doesn't do that for now. It evolves like a good board game, slowly, intentionally and respectfully. That's why I call it a board card game. Its longevity doesn't come from hype drops, collectors, market scouts or crazy power spike. It comes from the one thing that actually really matters for most of us. Great gameplay that just keeps growing in the right direction. And that's exactly why Altered and everything I do for this game, it's such a massive passion project for me. I mean, I'll be honest, aside from work, spending time with my partner or family, everything else goes into Altered, because this game brings me back to something I thought I had lost, the joy of simple playing, of exploring something new without the constant fear that 2 months from now everything I love about it will be ruined because someone decided to drop some overpowered nonsense into the mix. And hey, this is just my opinion. I know some people love to nitpick Altered to the death, but let's be real, it's unique and that matters. But the uniqueness also makes me a little bit sad sometimes, because Altered in my eyes is trying to sell itself as something it's not. It's not a traditional trading card game, it's a board card game. And I really hope more people stop comparing it to the big brands and start appreciating it for what it actually is. One of the most thoughtful, elegant and replayable gameplay experience out of there if you just give it a real shot. And I hope that through my tournaments, my streams and hopefully a few more videos like this one, I can play a small part in showing you just that. So hey friends, that's it for today's video. Thanks you so much to everyone who stuck around and joined me on this little tough journey. I genuinely want to try and bring more content to this channel again, and I'm incredibly grateful for everyone supporting me in any shape or form. It really means the world and helps me keep going with all of this. Hopefully it won't be too long until we see each other again in another video. In the meantime, feel free to check out my streams or watch the cast I'm doing for other events, and of course come and say hi to the next AQZ tournaments as well. This goes out especially to those of you like me pour a lot into Altered, whether it's time, passion or energy, and maybe feel a little bit disappointed with certain things. What I exactly mean by that, what needs to change, and how I hope Altered can avoid getting swallowed up by all the new shiny releases out here, well, that's something I'll be diving into my next video. Until then, take care and see you soon. Bye bye!